Welcome to my channel. My name is Sue and today we're doing sun salutations. Doing sun salutations is my favorite way to heat up the body. It's also a great way to warm up before doing any more advanced yoga poses. Sometimes my practice just involves doing sun salutations if I don't have time for anything else. I find it's a great way to just give the entire body a good overall stretch. So I hope you enjoyed this little mini session. Please join me on the mat for sun salutations. Let's begin at the very top of the mat. Stand with your feet above hips width apart, feet planted firmly to the ground, a good spread to the toes, and bring your hands into prayer position. Draw your belly button in and lift a little taller to the spine. Allow your shoulders to relax and hands in prayer. Take a deep inhale and exhale. With your next inhale, stretch your arms out, reach the arms back, and then overhead, let the palms touch. And as you exhale, fold into forward bend. Just release and soften. If you're feeling tight in the back of the body, keep the knees soft and let the upper body drape forward. Just soften. Roll out those shoulders and move the head, or even sway the body gently side to side. And find your way back to center, forward bend. Inhale, lift up halfway for flat back. Exhale, fold into forward bend. Plant your hands on the mat. Take one foot, step it back, and then the other into a high push-up position. You've got those shoulders over the wrists. Bring those knees down onto the mat. If you're pretty new to sun salutations, take low push-up with the elbows close to the body. You might have to shift slightly forward. And inhale through into cobra. And let the chest draw forward. Let the hips melt a little. And next exhale, take it back to down dog. Safer squeeze from your knees and curl your toes under. Lift up and back downward facing dog. In your down dog, bend one knee, straighten the other leg. And switch. Just one more time on each side. Bend the knee, straighten the other leg, and switch. And then back to downward facing dog. Take one more deep breath, and at the end of this exhale, gaze in between the hands, step, walk, or hop your feet up to the top of the mat. I just like walking it up at the very first one. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale to fold, and inhale all the way back up. Stretch your arms out and overhead, let the palms touch. Interlace fingers, point the index fingers, tilt over to the right, just opening up to the left side of the body. Keep your feet planted. And just hold it there. Take one more deep breath. And inhale, draw back to center. And then do the same thing on the other side. With an inhale, lots of length. And exhale over to your left side. Just to feel that stretch out to the right side of the body. And hold it there. Keep breathing. Keep planting that left foot down onto the mat. And then take that inhale to draw back to center. As you exhale, fold into forward bend. Release. Inhale, lift up halfway for flat back and long spine. Hands on the mat, step, walk, or hop back into your low push-up. So if you want, you can walk it back into high, bring those knees down and take your low push-up. Inhale through into cobra, or if you want, upward facing dog, lifting the thighs off the mat, pressing down into the feet. Next exhale, take it back downward facing dog. In your down dog, take your gaze under the right arm and shift your hips slightly over to the right side. You should feel lots of length in the left side of the body, but if you want more, you can walk that left hand towards the top left corner of the mat. And even more than that, you can cross that left foot behind the right and then press in towards the right side of the body. Keep breathing. Come back to center, downward facing dog. Feet planted firmly on the mat. Well, the heels are trying to reach the mat. Don't worry if they don't get down. If you find yourself really tight, bend your knees and just look for length in the spine. Same thing on the other side. Take your gaze under the left arm, shift your hips towards the left. And if you need more, walk that right hand towards the top right corner of the mat. Cross that left foot behind the right. And then lean towards the left side of the body. Keep breathing. Come back to center, downward facing dog. Reset. Anytime you need to take a break, knees comes down for a quick break and then pop back up into downward facing dog. Hold it here. One more deep breath. At the end of this exhale, gaze in between the hands, step, walk, or hop your feet up to the top of the mat. Once you get there, inhale, lift up halfway, exhale to fold, and inhale all the way back up. Stretch your arms out and overhead, let the palms meet, and then let's bring those hands back into prayer position. Take a side stretch again. Inhale to stretch your arms up and overhead, interlace fingers, and press the palms up towards the ceiling. Take it over to the left side this time. Hips slightly over to the right. Inhale, draw back to center. Same thing on the other side. Inhale, draw back to the middle and release swan dive. Interlace the fingers behind your backs as you fall into forward bend, pressing the hands away from the body. Knees can still be slightly soft, but if you're starting to warm up a little, try to straighten the legs and deepen the stretch at the back of those legs. And in your own way, you can try leaning the hands slightly over to one side. And you just want to feel a little bit to the opposite shoulder as you do that. Come back to the center and lean over to the other side. Carefully draw back to the middle, release the hands and let the arms dangle down towards the mat, softening. Next, inhale, wave up halfway. Flat back, hands on the shins on the mat. Exhale, plant your hands on the mat. Step, walk, or hop back into your low push-up. And inhale through into cobra or up dog. Exhale, draw back to downward facing dog. And in your down dog, take the right leg and float it off the mat, coming into three-legged dog. Just trying to keep your hips level in this version. Don't worry if that right leg doesn't lift up high. You want to get a deeper stretch the back of that left leg, pressing that left heel down as best as you can. One more deep breath. And bring that right foot down onto the mat. Float that left foot off the mat, three-legged dog. Pressing into that right side this time. Trying your best to keep the hips level. One more deep breath. Back into downward facing dog. Just holding it here for a moment. You can stay right here or rise up onto your tiptoes, bend your knees, and try to place your belly in the thigh as you let the head drop down towards the floor so you get a deeper stretch to the back of those shoulders. If that's too much, just bring those knees down and let the head drop. Okay. One more deep breath. And then back to downward facing dog, both legs a little straighter, those heels reaching down towards the mat. At the end of this exhale, send your gaze up in between the hands. Step, walk, or hop. Your feet up to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come all the way back up. Stretch your arms out and overhead. Gentle back bend. And then fold right into your forward bend. Inhale, wave up halfway. Exhale, hands on the mat. Step, walk, or hop back to low push-up. Inhale through into cobra or up dog. And exhale to flow back into downward facing dog. Now in down dog, place your right hand to the center of the mat. And you can let your left shoulder drop a little. You can either place your left hand right under the chest and just take a gaze under the right arm. Or you can take that left hand all the way through to grab a hold of the outside of the opposite leg. So your right shin, your ankle, or even your heel. Then press firmly down into that right hand to rotate a little bit more. 2 and 1. Come back to downward facing dog. Pause it here. Take a break if you need to. Bring those knees down for a moment. And then pop back up into your down dog to switch sides. Make sure that left hand is center. Again, you can bring your right hand right under the chest to lower the right shoulder down. Or you can reach to see if you can grab a hold of the opposite shin or ankle. And if it's too far, you can always slide that left hand in a little bit to give you a little edge there. Then a little pull, a little push with that left hand pulling with the right to deepen the twist. 2 and 1. Great. Back to downward facing dog. Both legs a little straighter. Those heels reaching down towards the mat. At the end of this exhale, gaze in between. At the end of this exhale, gaze in between the hands. Step, walk, or hop your feet up to the top of the mat. Once you get there, inhale to lift up halfway. Exhale to fold. And inhale all the way back up. Stretch your arms out and overhead, taking that gentle back bend and fold into forward bend. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, hands on the mat. Low push-up. Inhale through into cobra, up dog. And exhale back into downward facing dog. And take the right leg and lift it up high. This time try bending the right knee and opening up, trying to get that right hip a little higher than the left. You can point that knee towards the ceiling if you want. Great. Level off the hips. Rise up onto your left tiptoe and draw that right knee in towards the belly. You can stay there or push forward, come into a knee plank. Hips a little higher, a little bit of rounding the spine. And take that right leg and stretch it up and back. Three-legged dog, a little opening. You can keep the knee bent or stretch that right leg up. And then bring that right foot back down onto the mat. Downward facing dog. Staying here is fine. Or you can come down into a child's pose. Next, we'll take that left leg and lift it up high. Bend the left knee. Point that knee towards the ceiling and try to get that left hip higher than the right. Rise up onto your right tiptoes and draw that left knee in towards the belly, rounding the spine. Option to shift forward, to hover. And carefully take that left leg and stretch it back up into three-legged dog with a little bit of opening. You can bend the left knee, point that knee towards the ceiling, or stretch the left leg up to you. And then back to downward facing dog. Good. Take a break here if you need to. Knees down, resting the shoulders, resting the arms, or just stay in down dog. Next, we're going to take that right leg, stretch it up high, point that foot towards the ceiling, turn your gaze forward and shift forward. Some of you may be able to come deeper into a back bend shape. One more deep breath, but I want to shift forward a little bit more, and then back into downward facing dog. Let's try the other side. Take that left leg, stretch it up, bend the left knee, pointing that left toe towards the ceiling. Turn your gaze forward, chest forward, gaze forward, and a little back bend shape. Maybe a little bit more. One more. Back into downward facing dog. At the end of this exhale, send your gaze up in between the hands. Step, walk, or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale, all the way back up. Stretch your arms out and overhead. Take that gentle back bend and then back to the start. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I'm quite warmed up now. Ready to either go on with the rest of my day or continue with more poses, more yoga poses. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for joining me. Namaste.